Hello, thank you for joining us on platform. I'm Ruth Aguela. The 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, a global campaign led annually by the United Nations Women. It usually begins from 25 November, which is the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, down to 10 December. Underscoring that gender-based violence is a human rights violation. And this year's theme I find very fascinating: Unite. Invest to end digital violence against women and girls. In Nigeria, stakeholders are urging for better digital safety and accountability from tech platforms. Even before now, at least 1 in 3 women experience physical or sexual violence, which is still a norm. But technology has intensified and facilitated violence against women and girls, with studies showing 16 to 58% of women worldwide impacted with international artificial intelligence, creating new forms of abuse and amplifying existing ones at alarming rates. It has become a vicious cycle where violence spreads further, faster, and in more complex ways. Online and digital spaces should empower women and girls. Yet every day, for millions of women and girls globally, the digital world has become a minefield of harassment, abuse, and control. What can start small on screens, a message, a comment, or a post, can quickly spiral into a torrent of threats and violence in real life. We see private photos, that have been stolen without consent. And AI tools, on the other hand, target women with significant consequences, physically, psychologically, and financially. And stakeholders are calling for investments in prevention through digital literacy and online safety training for women and girls that challenges toxic online cultures. On platform, the focus will be ending violence against women and girls, and our guest is Dr. Princess Ngozi Ukeje. She is a women's rights advocate. Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Ukeje.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Our pleasure. And just before we bring in our panelists, let's let you in on who our guest is, more appropriately taking her profile. Dr. Princess Ngozi Ukeje is a renowned mathematician. She is among the first few professors to work at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Dr. Ukeje holds a degree in psychology from New York and master's in applied statistics at Stony Brook University, and another master's degree in human resources and industrial management, with a doctorate degree in biblical counseling, and also received an honorary doctorate degree in divinity. She's a teacher, a philanthropist, counselor, a manager, and leader by profession. Dr. Ukeje is also a businesswoman with several businesses in the United States and Nigeria. As distinguished humanitarian fellow, board council member, financial secretary, she is the executive director for the project implementation board of Newport City, Port Harcourt, a global consultant for Modern Alliance for Sustainable and Inclusive Development of Americas and Africa, where they empower women, youth, and individuals with disabilities globally. Well done, Dr. Ukeje.
Thank you.
All right, so our panelist is our very own gender correspondent here in NTA, Momso Damien Dati. Momso, always a pleasure to see you here, especially when we have to talk about women issues.
I'm glad to be on the platform with you, Ruth. Thank you for having me.
I see the touch of orange.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So Dr. Ukeje, it's been ongoing, talking about gender-based violence against women and girls. But this year, the theme is talking about digital violence, which must end, and we must all unite to end it. Now, if you want to paint a narrative, for us, let's look at the issues of gender-based violence before now and how digital platforms have helped to amplify this violence we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for that question. That's a good place to start. Why did they pick the color orange? It's bright. You can't hide orange under anything. So it brings us to the fact that we really need to see this for what it is. It is an issue that everybody needs to lay their eyes on. Gender violence has been going on for years and years in our country and in the world. When we're talking about these numbers, 1 out of 3, it's a nationwide global-wide number. It's not just relegated to Nigeria. So we do have a lot of work to do, because when you use this to silence a woman from speaking, where we have problems like this, even some journalists are silent with this, or any ladies in politics. Somebody will use something from their past to silence them because they are out there talking about something that's very important. So we really have a lot of work to do. We have to do a lot more with our funding in reference to this issue. We have to do a lot more with our cultural norms, and we have to do a lot more with our political environment. When you put all of that together, then you're going to get at least a platform to work from.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, now we have 30 years ago at the Beijing Convention, the issue wasn't on technologically facilitated violence against women.
Right.
We're talking about issues of beating, rape and all that. Now it's taking another dimension. The focus is going technologically. And why is this issue becoming very topical at this point? I know we've heard of harassment, intimidation, cyberbullying and all that. Yes, but why is it important that women are now focusing on this particular topic?
Because it has to bring awareness. And we have to have a focused time for that awareness. If we just throw it out into the open, other things are going to cover it, and other things are going to take precedence over this issue. This issue is not a today issue.
Yeah.
This, even like you said, 40 years ago they were talking about it. The only difference is that they were not talking about the technology part of it.
Yeah.
But we still have beatings, we still have rapes, we still have sexual abuse, we still have all of those. So even in 40 years, we haven't made too much of a different stride in that. Now we've added technology to the mess, which is really making it even worse, because now technology is not nice, so to speak, because anything you put in cyberspace, guess what? Stays in cyberspace.
Yes.
Unlike physically, you can hide it, you can put on makeup, you cannot go out.
Yes.
With cyberspace, you have no choice. It's out there.
Okay, let me follow up to that question. How does it affect women? Talking about the stalking, I've heard issues of women's nude pictures being posted. You have a consensual agreement to do whatever you want to do, and the next thing, it's on air, the man is posting. And
Yes.
how does that affect women, especially women in politics, women, yes, how does that affect
It
women?
affects you mentally, it affects you psychologically,
Yeah.
it affects you just being a person. You don't feel like you can even come out. You become a hermit. You stop doing some of the things that you're supposed to do. It affects every part of you as a female. And most of us know that when you expose a female to the public, literally you've torn her apart, literally. I give you an example of a group of men. They were in this the men's club, whatever club they want to call it. And basically what they were doing is that they were taping themselves having sexual intercourse with their wives. Their wives were not unaware of this.
They give consent.
The wives did not give consent for them to tape them during their private moments. Now remember, I said wives. I didn't say concubines.
Exactly.
I didn't say girlfriends. Wives. And they did not give them consent to tape it. Well, guess what the men were using it for? Pornography. So they would now expose their wives to cyber bullying through showing them having private moments. Generally, the focus was on the wife's face and not necessarily the man. And it became a way of them making money, because they would post it to the pornography sites. And these people who run these pornography sites would pay them for it. So that was their job.
So do you think it hampers the contribution of a woman to national development?
Oh, yes. Because you're never sure who's going to do what, or who's going to pop something out and say, oh,
This is what you did some years ago.
There you go. And so now you want to come to public and say what? Let me see you do that.
You know, and it's always a shameful act, especially when the woman had to contend with what the public would throw on
yes,
you.
Exactly.
There are laws. We have the Cybercrime Prohibition Prevention Act of 2015 and the VAPT Act of 2015. And we get to see these perpetrators go scot-free. Would you link that to, you know, should I say gaps in enforcing these laws?
Well, let me give you some statistics. Let's say 2024, I guess, 2023, 2024, about 17,000 cases were reported. About 16,000 of them came to court. Only 409 were convicted.
So
that
really
is a huge gap. Well, again, we go back to our cultural norms. We go back to the fact that a lot of people are not well trained in this field. In our culture, talking about sex is not something that you do. As a matter of fact, I'm surprised that even we're doing this now on public television, because in our culture, talking about sex is a taboo. And then, of course, we have the fact that, oh, it's a shame. You're shaming the family. You're shaming a culture. You're shaming your people. So there's so much shame and guilt surrounding all of that. So it silences a lot of people.
So where do we begin to shift the narratives, especially in the aspect of strengthening this legal framework?
We start first with training the right professionals. Because I don't know if you know, but a lot of women who call for help, especially with our legal system, get chastised, even they get raped again, literally. Because you have questions like, well, what were you wearing? Well, see, look at how you're dressed. Look at all that makeup you have on.
Did you go to the house?
Did you go to the house? Did you answer your phone? You know, questions like that that really have no bearing on the issue. The fact that I went to the house doesn't mean I gave the person permission to rape me.
Exactly.
The fact that I answered the phone doesn't mean that I said, oh, come kill me or come destroy my life.
Exactly.
You know, and the fact that I'm there with you, if we decide to do anything, doesn't mean you get the right to public humiliation of me. No, that's unacceptable. So. So we need to start training people to ask the right questions. Because if you ask me those questions, guess what? I'm not going to talk to you anymore. But if you ask me the right questions, okay, you tell us exactly what happened. And yes, we're going to help you. We need to have a legal system that works for women. A legal system, unfortunately, doesn't work for women. We need to have funding. In Nigeria, the government spends 365 naira. That's not even 1,000 naira. 365 naira on every female. How are you going to get anything accomplished at that rate? Especially in our world today.
Yeah.
So we have a long way to go.
Now, but do you think there's a delay in administering justice? Because sometimes, look at the case of Oganya, for example. It's over 13 years.
Yeah.
It's still hanging.
Yes.
So what's actually happening? Is it that there is not enough evidence? Is the justice being delayed, at least for those who are trained to administer justice on rape matters? Because she was raped and killed. So what's the problem? What's happening? What is it? Delay in justice system? Or I don't understand what is actually the problem.
Well, you said it. Delay in justice system. The fact that women don't really have a say-so, and you're not considered important. You're not a first-class citizen. You're a third-class citizen. And when I say that, I mean the men are the first-class citizen, children are second-class citizen, and then you, women, come in as third-class citizens. So we really don't spend time in helping women out when there is a situation like this. And again, most women don't have the finances to be able to buy
that's a huge challenge.
the celebrity lawyers or legal help.
That's true.
And that's why this program is advocating for free legal help for women, because most women cannot afford it. And if you cannot afford the legal system, and you and I know that our legal system is kind of expensive, so if you cannot afford it, guess what? You don't get the service that you're looking for.
Now, you've been into development work for a long time.
Yes.
You've been working with NGOs, international donor agencies, partners, CSOs, and all that. From your assessment, what are they actually doing, to curb these issues? What are they doing to address this? Because some train the lawyers, some the police, and others, they're diversified, playing different roles at different points. But if you were to assess, where would you place them? How far have they gone? What impact are they really making?
Their heart is in the right place. But unfortunately, we have a system that doesn't really work. And so until we get our system working, then these kinds of things will actually play a part. Just like you said, what is actually wrong? What is wrong is that, first of all, we don't have properly trained people. Secondly, our culture doesn't really want to hear about women's problems. Thirdly, we're not putting the funding that we need into these kinds of issues. And fourthly, we don't have the advocacy that is needed. And fifth, awareness. Most people think it's a joke. What is your problem? So the man touched you, so what? Why are you fighting? Waiting. And then it goes into, and then it just gets watered down. And then you as a female think, oh, okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe it wasn't
Maybe
what I
it was
thought.
even my fault.
Yeah, maybe it was me. Maybe, okay, all right, maybe I gave him the impression that he can just do anything with me.
And there's also the aspect of, especially when it's for minors or teenagers, you get to see the parents, want to settle out of maybe court or even not involving the security agencies and all of that. It's quite unfortunate, especially when these young ones are exposed to online. They get bullied, they get harassed and all of that. But my concern is for survivors. Even if you don't want to go seek justice, how can survivors be supported, especially those who are constrained? You get what I mean?
Right. It's very difficult for a survivor to survive something like this without support. Okay, you have to have the medical support. You have to have the psychological support. You have to have the mental wellness support. You have to have financial support, because and you have to have a safe place to go. We don't have shelters. Okay, and the shelters that we have, first of all, when you get there and the questions that they ask you, you just turn around and leave. Because again, they're raping you. So we have a lot to do to be able to get to the place.
You know why I asked that question? Because of what Mom So asked about the CSOs and, civil rights group who advocate for this kind of issue. Are they stepping in that direction to support survivors? If you don't want to throw it on state or federal, what role can they play?
Again, it's a financial issue. Major financial issue, because to run a shelter, you cannot do it on your personal funds. And a lot of CSOs and NGOs that are actually doing stuff, most of the CEOs are functioning out of their own pocket. CSOs. Okay. No, but the chief executive officers of the CSOs are running out of their own personal pocket, literally. And so to run a shelter, if anybody understands what it means to run a shelter, you're talking about thousands and thousands and millions. And millions. When you're talking about naira, it's in millions. When you're talking about dollars, it's in thousands. But because you have to provide everything that a person needs to survive. Medical,
food, psychological,
everything, because they're there under your protection. So it becomes extremely difficult, and when we're talking about the young people, because of the lack of awareness, because of family shame, because of, oh my goodness, my daughter cannot do that. And the daughter doesn't actually even understand the extent of what she's doing. A 14-year-old doesn't understand cyberspace, permanent print in cyberspace. What does she know about that? A 13-year-old, she's just getting into her body, so she wants to show off, oh, it's looking good, this and that. She doesn't know what she's doing. As a matter of fact, Denmark, if I'm correct, is now posing a law where no teenagers can have phones.
Yes.
Did you heard that,
Yes,
right?
yes, I did.
Yeah. So, I mean, and why? For the same reason that we're talking about today.
Right.
Because young people do not intellectually have the ability to understand the damage cyberspace can do to their lives in the future.
Okay, do you think that the intervention of the development partners is actually meeting the target, is solving the problem? Because sometimes they might bring an intervention that is not actually addressing what we need. They have their policies, they have what they want.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to help a patient, you know, who is sick, but you're inviting commissioners to come for training, you lot them in hotels and all. Do you think they're actually addressing the need and, you know, addressing the challenge?
No,
or
they're
is there
not.
a way we should just, you know, reject everything, change policies, and okay, this is where we need intervention, this is where you need to come in. It's not what you want, you give us. It is what we want, you know, that you should address.
If you want it to work, you have to do a needs assessment first.
Yeah.
And there's no needs assessment done. You have a pocket of money, so you have to do something with it, you throw it at something. You've not done a needs assessment to find out what actually is needed so that the funds can actually be targeted to that exact need. You haven't done a community assessment if you're within a community to find out what does the community need. Did you go and talk to the elders? Did you go and talk to the chiefs? Did you go and talk to the youth within that community? No. So, you know, our politicians show up, the media follow them, it's a big boo, 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 ha, ha, ha for the day, and that's it, done, finished. Nobody else says anything anymore. There's no follow-up, there's no monitoring, there's no evaluation, there's nothing, and that's it.
And that's why there's a call for connection, empowerment, so that women and girls can be able to express themselves. And part of the advocacy for this year is investment on digital literacy.
Yes.
Now, you know this vulnerable set of women or girls who are exposed to online space,
Yes.
especially in rural communities, may not understand the metrics, how things work. And just become gullible,
Yes.
you know, and fall victim.
Yes.
So how can we begin to break that divide through investments, you know, empowering them beyond just teaching them skills and all of that? This is a shift now. Teach them digital literacy.
Yes.
That's what they're saying.
Yes. Well, think about it. We see so many advertisements and stuff like that, or even in some of our movies where in the rural areas somebody gives a young lady a phone and she's gone ballistic. I mean, it's like she has won a million billions of gold. I mean, and she dances throughout the whole village. We need to let people know that a phone is just an implement or an instrument to communicate. So don't fall gaga over a phone, because once you do that, that's it. You've lost the idea of what phones are. We do not, in our country, have not taught people phone etiquette or phone courtesy. Okay, a phone is an instrument. It's to use to communicate. It's not to use it for all the things that we use it for. And unfortunately, because we do that, we've lost the whole idea of what a phone really is. So you go to the village, you can deceive a little girl with a Nokia phone, as crazy as that sounds. And then forget an iPhone. Oh my goodness, they will do anything that you ask, not realizing the damage that it's going to cause later. So yeah, we have a long way to go in terms of advocating, in terms of training. When you're doing skills training, train them on the proper usage of tools like that.
You know, it's just unfortunate that these gaps persist, and we can even start breaking that cycle in primary and secondary schools, because a lot of these children are exposed to what they're not supposed to. Even primary school, they're exposed to things they're not supposed to. We're focusing on the girls, even the boys too, you know, are victims of such. What should schools do? What should parents do? Because they are responsible also.
Yeah. Well, I've dealt in the educational system myself for a long time, and when you tell parents, don't send your child to school with a telephone, what do you mean? My child has to have a phone. I have to be able to communicate with my child. I need to be able to get in touch with them. What? Your child is 6 years old. They're supposed to be in school, studying, concentrating. Why do you need to get in touch with that 6-year-old at 9 o'clock in the morning? No, my child has to have a phone. If my child doesn't have a phone, I cannot be comfortable throughout the day of work. So we have to train parents to understand that a child of 6 or 10 or 14 or even 15 does not understand the power of the phone. So giving them a phone when they're supposed to be in school is counterproductive. We need to have parent classes. That is one profession that you do not need a certificate for, is to be a parent. Everything else in the world, you need a certificate for. Now, being a parent is the most important job in the world, but you don't need to be certified. Now, you tell me. So, and because that's the case, we have people who have no business being parents. I mean, and I say that with all honesty and humility, not because of anything, but that is the truth. We do have people who have no background in parenting becoming parents. And if you don't have the skill set, what are you going to train that young person that you have brought into the world? What are you going to say to them? How are you going to train them? How are you going to provide for them? How are you going to teach them when you yourself was not taught?
Okay. Now, do you think Nigeria is judiciously using this 16 days of activism to drive the message home? Every year it comes, it goes. Does it just end there? Or do you think there's a need to continue the conversation? And do you think we're actually making the impacts we desire to see? And especially what Ruth said, at the grassroots, to the rural women, those in the communities. Do you think we're making that impact?
I work with a local community here in Abuja. We do a lot of projects and programs in that community. They don't know anything about this.
They don't know anything about
They don't know anything about this. They don't even know what we're talking about.
So that's
they have no clue. No clue whatsoever. There's supposed to be a VAPP act.
Yes.
Nobody that I know that I've spoken to knows anything about or has even heard of the VAPP.
In Abuja.
Yes.
In Abuja. Nobody knows. Now, our Honorable Senator, Mrs. Dr. Dio Benjamin, is a passionate advocate for this particular issue. Everywhere she goes, and she's now actually going into the communities, personally herself, stepping ground on those communities and now teaching about this. So she is so active. Sometimes she goes to like 4 or 5 communities in one day, trying to get the message out.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but we don't know that. And this is where many of us women should come together and be with her and follow her if we knew about this. But most people don't. How do I know this? Because I met her the other day, and so we were talking. That's how I know what she's doing. But we need more of that.
That means there's a disconnect between what is happening up there and then what is happening at the grassroots.
Which requires awareness.
Yes. And if you
because
don't
if
have
you're just
awareness,
telling us this is what she's doing at the grassroots here in Abuja, where people would have never heard of what gender-based violence is.
This is the Federal Capital Territory.
Exactly.
You can imagine what happens in other states at the hinterlands.
Exactly. Exactly. We are not inclusive in a lot of work that we do in the advocacy field or in the environment. Yes. It becomes silos. As opposed to being more inclusive and everybody being involved. And so because we don't have that, there's a lot of gaps. and the gaps are getting wider and wider and wider. It's not so much that there's gaps, but it's just getting wider because we're not connecting.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have to pause. We need to take a break. We'll be back shortly. Please stay with us so you follow the conversation.
What are we doing as a nation to, first of all, settle our teeming populace, especially the
NTA's political package with a third eye on the nation's political scene? I am Fisa Ogunfuyi. Welcome.
You have to be very careful giving space to people who are obviously sponsored to further the agenda of some other groups.
There's a lot of questions. A lot of questions in a closed door sessions. Some of these issues, some of the problems bedeviling of their
In fact, between June 1st and July 17, 19-point-something billion has left the coffers of the NDDC.
I can say my constituency, they need everything because we don't have anything.
A method for digital literacy is a bot that you can use, you can interact to learn more about digital literacy.
Hello, it's our pleasure to have you join us on platform. I'm Ruth Aguwele.
What is the yardstick for measuring everybody's moral integrity? It's critical at this point in time.
How daunting has that been for the Institute in getting them abreast with all the legislative procedures?
The fact remains that one training workshop is not enough.
Okay, you're still watching Platform on the network service of the NTA. The conversation is on ending gender-based violence. Dr. Okeje, you were just sharing with us the silos that women groups are working in. And it's just unfortunate, especially if we have to build a stronger network. Yeah. That synergy is required. What do you think can be done to begin to, because even amongst the women now who are fighting for the vulnerable, so to say, are disconnected.
Yes, yes.
And you can only imagine what they can do when they're united.
Exactly. We haven't learned our power, our level of power. We haven't learned to coexist. We haven't learned to be partners with one another. When we were growing up, and when I say we, I'm talking about girls, when we were growing up, we were always compared with somebody else. There was a, why can't you be? Why can't you? Why? So you grew up like that, and as an adult, you still act like that. So when it comes to say, oh, let's partner, you have an NGO, I have an NGO, oh, okay, what does she want? Okay, she wants to gain access to what I'm doing. So there's always that level of competition, which shouldn't be. Which shouldn't be. Exactly. We're women, we all suffer the same things. There are very few women that you will talk to that have not suffered some level of abuse. And many a times when we talk about abuse, we talk about physical abuse. There is emotional abuse, there's psychological abuse, there's financial abuse, there is educational abuse, there is the physical abuse, there is isolation abuse.
There's even reputation abuse.
There's reputation abuse, there's, I will tell your family abuse. So every single one of us females have had some level of abuse that we've had to deal with in our lives. And unfortunately, we don't realize that everybody else is dealing with that. And if we came together, we would be able to hug each other. One of my ministries is a hugging ministry. I know that sounds weird, but it is. Because there's so many women that I have hugged who've said, this is the very first hug I've ever had. And I'm thinking, you're 35 years old and no one has ever hugged you? what is going on? What's wrong with that picture? And a hug is such a healing physical thing to do for anybody, that for you to live 35 years of your life and have not felt a warm hug, oh my goodness, I literally just have to hug that person and stand there for at least a minute.
You're going to share a hug with us?
Oh, I'm definitely going to share hugs with you. Yes, because, and I've had women literally fall apart crying in my arms because that's the first time they've felt comfort. It shouldn't be like that. Yeah. We should be there for each other. Exactly. We should love each other. We should be able to talk to each other. We should be able to hold hands together and go down the road and say, you know what, we're going to do this together. But we don't have that. And so you have a lot of NGOs being run by women, but they're in silos. They're not connecting. I have an NGO. I partner with at least 5 other NGOs in Nigeria. Am I physically there with them? No. But whatever they're doing, I support. Whatever I'm doing in my NGO, they support. That's where we need to start. That's the grassroots. That's the bottom. That's going down to the bare minimum. You have an NGO, you have an NGO, let's get together. Let's do one thing. Yeah. Not too long ago, I partnered with 2 NGOs, and in one of the local communities here in Abuja, we went and we did free medical outreach. We touched over 60 people, and we did blood pressure, we did diabetes check, and we did counseling. All 100% free. We even gave out medications, again, 100% free. And it was a combination of 3 NGOs that came together. All those NGOs being run by females. If we do more and more of those kinds of things, we will get to touch a lot of lives.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, you said something before this conversation that a lot of women are yet to even understand what the VAP Act is. I'm aware the VAP Act is due for review, and some people are yet to even understand what it entails. Exactly. So some people are still yet to even understand what violence is, what constitutes violence, especially in rural communities. Yes. A recent report by DRCP indicated they did a questionnaire and were asking women, would it be okay for your husband to slap you? And from the findings, they said, someone said it's okay if they misbehave, their husbands can go ahead and beat them. Yeah. So they're even yet to understand that beating is violence. Yeah. Yes, and the VAP Act is due for review. What is the problem?
Well, first of all, most parents tell their girls, so he roughed you, so what's the problem? He's your husband.
We endured it during our time. That's the song.
As a matter of fact, that is what you're complaining about. You should have seen my own life. Hello, that doesn't make it right. But that's what we do, and we pass that on. And so a man will grab his wife by the arm, leave marks on her arms, but that's not a problem. She will just cover it up with makeup and cover it and continue. I must have said something to him that upset him like that he grabbed me like that. Really? What is it that you can say to your husband that should upset him to the point of being physical to you? Then there's a problem already in the foundation of that marriage. And that's what we have to do. Even in the workplace, we talk about families, but this also happens in the workplace. Exactly. A lot of women, for you to move up in your career in your field, you have to compromise. And in many cases, some of these women are married. And now they're compromising in the job just because they want to get a little more pay or because they want to move up in their career field. And can you imagine compromising yourself? You are a married woman, and for the next 30 years, this thing is always in the back of your mind.
Even if you're not married, what is wrong is wrong.
What is wrong is wrong.
Exactly.
And that's what we need to start teaching, even in the primary schools, because it's not getting taught at homes. So we need to implement And of course, when you talk about teaching children about family and sexual abuse and all of that, no, you can't teach my child that, oh. No, you can't, no. What are you trying to tell her to go and be a prostitute? How did that become teaching children how to become a prostitute? I don't understand. We're trying to teach children to protect themselves. And this is where we need to start, in the school systems and with the parents. So that's why I'm advocating for parent classes, and I'm also advocating for schools to introduce this into
and
their
now
school
for the
system.
policymakers.
And for the policymakers.
Yes, implementers. Where's the gap? Because women are even yet to understand what the act is, and you're reviewing already to capture other things, and some are not even aware. So what do they need to do, to up their game and create awareness among women?
Yeah, well, we need to have more women in power, first of all.
Okay.
Because our power source and control is by men. Sorry, men, but that is true. And so they're still going to protect themselves. I mean, we've seen it in the media. We don't even have to start pointing out cases of what is going on, especially in our country. And so until we get more women who have the power to make changes, we're going to keep struggling at this. The gap is going to be there. So we need to work towards that. I know that in the policies now, they're trying to save space for women. Why should you have to save space for women? It should be there. When you start saying we're doing this for you, it seems like, oh, you're giving me a cookie, crumb. I'm 51% of the world population. Why should I settle for a crumb of a cookie?
So do you think when women are given the leverage, not leverage, opportunity, to have these elective positions, do you think they would do better in terms of, changing the narrative and shifting perspectives to stand in the gaps for women who are vulnerable by pulling them up?
First of all, we have to teach women to love women. Then, they will pull each other up. A lot of women we have some women in levels of power and control, but there's nobody behind them. Why? Because they were never trained to be loved, or to love another woman, or to understand that that other woman is not there to overthrow them, or to take their position, or to take their husband or their boyfriend, or whatever the issue is that that woman might have at that time. So until we get to learn how to love ourselves, putting women in power can be dangerous, but let's start with the young ones now, so that as they grow and they become those in power, they will pull other women up with them.
If I get you correctly, when you say putting women in power can be dangerous, are you speaking from the perspective of a woman who already has certain powers, not having the backing of other women, or not allowing other women to come close? There's this mindset of, I worked hard to get to this point. You do your own bits.
Yes.
That's
that competition thing again.
Okay.
Yeah. And yes, the world is shifting, and we need to shift the way we think about things. Our mindset has to be that of, you know what, all of us together can make this work. Yes. And we're not there yet. Unfortunately, we're not. Wherever I go, I speak of agape love. I speak of the love that transcends everything. Okay, fine. When I was in secondary school with you, I picked on you. Okay, fine. Can we be friends now? Yeah. Can you forgive me? I'm sorry. I didn't really realize what I was doing then. Can we get to that level where we at least say, I'm sorry? And if it is that you didn't do anything and I didn't go to school with you, but I'm sorry for whatever it is that happened to you. I'm sorry for whatever anybody did to you. Can we be friends? Because if we're friends, we can make things happen. And with love, we can change lives. And we can love one another. We can be happy. I know people think, oh, I don't know where that woman came from, but what the heck is she talking about? But the point is, we have to show love if we're going to be able to make it work. Without love, nothing works. So we have to get to that point. And unfortunately, we have to teach it. Because
recently, there was a drama at the Senate, and someone's personal life was brought into her political career. So at what point should we begin to separate your personal life from your performance? She's performing very well wherever she's representing, but you saw that immediately there was a drama, there was a saga, her personal life was brought into, oh, she's been married this time. So what do we need to realize? And unfortunately, women were pushed,
I was going to say
organized in groups, you know, to bring these issues against her.
You said in the Senate, it was publicized to the whole world. There's no part of the world where you talk about that issue, that somebody doesn't know about it. So now, for the rest of her life, she's going to always have to defend herself. But I love the way that she didn't stop. Because most women would have said, you know, forget it.
That's the spirit.
That's it. I'm done. Nobody's going, and they would disappear, and whatever the good work they were doing would disappear with them. But I love the fact that she stood her ground. Okay, and so many more of us need to learn how to do that. Every single person in this world has a private life. Every single person, male or female. But why is it that the female's private life is the one that is always showcased? Everybody has a private life. You cannot separate you as a human being from your private life and your career life. You are one and the same. I'm not Dr. Ngozi stupid at career, and then I become Dr. Ngozi Ukeje and my private life. I'm Dr. Ngozi Ukeje wherever you find me. So private or personal or career-wise or whatever, or even just now on this station, I am still Dr. Ngozi Ukeje. I don't change. Now, there are some people out there that will say, you should have seen her or know her before. I don't know what she's talking about, too. And I will say to them, I love you, too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So that should be the spirit.
That's the spirit.
Resilience. Yeah. Keep fighting on. It doesn't matter what people say about you.
Keep fighting. Trust me, somebody has something negative to say about you. Period.
You know, it's just unfortunate that every year we get to this point. Unfortunately, again, AI that is supposed to be used positively, it's being used to fuel new norms, you know, to instigate violence. Beyond now, should we, you know, change perspectives or not waiting for 16 days to talk about these women issues? Where do we begin?
Now. Each and every one of us in our own little space can do what we can do to shed light on what we're talking about, and do it 365 days a year, not just between November 25th to December 10th. It should be an every minute topic for everybody, and not just women, for everybody. Are you human? Do you breathe? Yeah, let's talk about it. And if we don't do that, then the gap is going to even be worse, because AI is going to get even more AI-ish, whether there's a word like that, I don't know, I just made it up, but as we go along. So if we don't take care of the issue now, it's going to get worse.
It's just to get a picture of you, and that's it. A colleague of mine showed me something. I just sat down, we're talking, and he just took a picture, not even like a picture. He just used his phone to scan my face, and he showed me in another form.
Yes.
What I would never do. I can't share that yet.
Exactly.
You know, it's just unfortunate.
Yeah. You know, you have I've never been a technology. I always tell people when I was growing up, there was no such thing as technology. People think, oh, you're not that old. Okay, fine, no problem, according to you. But I'm telling you that when I was growing up and when I was in school, there was nothing like technology, the technology that we're dealing with today. So someone introduced me to Snapchat. And then when this person took a picture and showed me all, I was like, what? And they had all these funny looking faces and funny looking
yes.
stuff that you do on Snapchat. Child, I deleted it from my phone. I was like, no, I don't know what this is, but I don't need to be there. But you have to have the intelligence to know certain things not to do. Many of us think that our phone is to be used for these kinds of things. I always tell people a phone is for you to use to communicate with one another. God has made it that we are now able, we don't have to physically go to where you are. I can pick up the phone and I can talk to someone in Germany.
Okay.
So in essence, we should be expecting more of these abuses, or because you said the technological space is broadening by the day.
Yes.
And we may have new inventions coming.
Yes.
So in the nearest future, we may have to even shift from this to another level of violence, you know, that we're not aware. So how should women prepare themselves?
Well, we need to start teaching it now. That's why I said now. We need to start now.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you so much, Dr. Princess Ngozi Okete. Unfortunately, we have to leave the conversation, but not the advocacy, because, of course, each and every one of us have a role and a stake in this.
We do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you do. Thank you for supporting women and sharing those hugs.
I will.
And keep the smile burning.
And also men, I do hug too.
Oh,
Yes.
we'll take ours up to the program then.
Okay. Momso Damien Deti, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank
It's a pleasure.
you for always
Pleasure.
To be seated
speaking
with
up when
Dr.
it comes to
Ngozi.
gender issues. Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I hope that something I have said has touched somebody's heart and somebody's life.
Very well.
And we'll just keep on keeping on.
All right, so there you have it. We have to work together collectively to end gender-based violence against women and girls. We all deserve, I'm talking about women now, we deserve to be safe, you know, protected. And of course, that equal right should be guaranteed. That's Platform. I'm Ruth Aguilera. Bye.